one thing that everybody has to be careful about, whether you're a serious student of knowledge or not, you're just a layperson, is you should really be sensitive to groups and individuals that are trying to kind of make the issue into an issue about being part of the right group versus doing the right thing, right? The shaitan is very clever, and the shaitan will try to get you busy with other people's faults, and the shaitan will try to get you busy with this sort of tribalism, right? But it's not the old tribalism of like, this is my, my clan and this is your clan. It's more like modern sports teams where, like, oh, I'm an Azhari, and oh, I'm Medina grad, and oh, I studied in Morocco, or whatever. People can become partisan about anything, and they do become partisan about lots of different things. So you need to be better than that, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala criticizes this attitude. This is the attitude of the Nasara. This is the attitude of Bani Israel, right? To try to turn their covenant with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which is transactional. It's a fi'l, right? It requires tajdeed. It requires renewal every single day when you are, doing acts of piety. The temptation is to turn that into an identity. And this is exactly what, as we said, Bani Israel did. And the Nasara, to the point where they said, well, we're God's chosen people. Now, the implication of that, if you're God's chosen people, or you're the saved sect in this case, is that you don't really have anything left to do. You're sort of patting yourself on the back and putting stock in being part of the right group. And there's two things that are problematic about this. One is that it is taking your attention away from what you're doing. And then the second is that it's taking your attention away from you at all, right? You're usually going to be policing other people and saying, oh, look at this person, they're astray. And that's an implicit praise of yourself. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, وَلَا تُزَكُّوا أَنفُسَكُمْ, right? And don't praise yourself. Don't claim piety for yourself in that sort of way. And we're really tricky when it comes to this, because we found really subtle ways to do it. We know well enough to not get up in front of people and say, I am pious and I did this and I did this. But we have really subtle ways, like yahdi, like may Allah guide them, may Allah guide him. And Sheikh Abdullah used to really have very little tolerance for this sort of attitude. If someone were to say that in his presence, he would say, Allah yahdik ent. It's like, may Allah guide you. It's like, we should be worried about our own guidance, primarily. And we should not say anything or do anything or have the attitude that implies that we are less in need of guidance than somebody else, or that we think that we've got it figured out and other people are astray and things like that. And that's obviously, there's a caveat to all this. We have to clarify the truth, and we have to respond, and intervene in the discourse and refute sort of the ideologies and the doubts that are happening. Obviously, that's what I do every single day. But you can't let the shaitan use that against you into thinking that it's you, right? We defend Islam, we defend the truth, and all of us are sinners, and all of us are sort of a poor example of what it looks like to follow the truth. And we really need to primarily be concerned about our own salvation and the salvation of others, but in a more sincere way than just labeling people and dismissing them and assuming things about them.